What would you think if I told you that the deepest, most authentic expression of your feminine self could be the very thing that makes a man retreat? Not because it is weak, but because it is overwhelmingly powerful. Today, we journey into the labyrinth of the male psyche, exploring a profound and often misunderstood dynamic, his hidden, unconscious reaction to a woman's genuine vulnerability. This isn't about the performative fragility the world has taught women to display, the delicate damsel in distress waiting for a hero. No, this is about the raw, unfiltered truth of your emotional core, offered without agenda or apology. It is the quiet courage of a woman who lays down her armor, not in surrender, but in sovereignty. She reveals her heart not as a plea to be completed, but as a statement of her own completeness. And in that sacred space, a man is confronted not with a woman he must save, but with a mirror to his own soul. His reaction, be it recognition, fear, admiration, or confusion, is never truly about her. It is a referendum on the state of his own inner world, a sudden and shocking conversation with the parts of himself he has long kept buried in shadow. This encounter is an archetypal summons, a call from the deep, and the man who is unready for such a reckoning will instinctively recoil from the light she brings, mistaking its brilliance for a fire that threatens to consume him. The masculine psyche, in its archetypal structure, is forged in the fires of separation. From a young age, it is conditioned to build a fortress, a persona of capability, logic, and control. This is the outer-facing mask he presents to the world, the armor required to navigate competition, hierarchy, and the relentless demand for performance. Within this fortress, however, lives a silent, often neglected counterpart, his anima, the unconscious feminine principle within him. She is the keeper of his emotional life, his capacity for relatedness, creativity, and intuition. For the uninitiated man, the anima is a terrifying and chaotic force, a whisper of feeling in a world that demands action. He projects her outward, seeing her not as a part of himself, but as a mythical creature to be conquered, saved, or possessed in the external world. He seeks the perfect, idealized woman who will embody his anima for him, allowing him to keep his own inner feminine safely locked away. So when you, a woman anchored in your own authentic vulnerability, stand before him, you are not just a person. You are a direct, living invocation of his own repressed soul. Your genuine emotion bypasses his carefully constructed persona and speaks directly to his anima. This is not the gentle damsel of his fantasy, this is the raw, untamed power of the feminine itself, and it terrifies the ego that has spent a lifetime building walls to keep her out. His response, therefore, becomes a diagnostic tool, a moment of profound revelation. The man who is a stranger to his own inner landscape will perceive your vulnerability as a threat. He may label it neediness, drama, or emotional instability. Why? Because he is projecting the unintegrated, chaotic nature of his own anima onto you. He sees in your tears the flood he fears within himself. He hears in your quiet honesty the wail of his own neglected soul. His ego, the rigid gatekeeper of his psyche, panics. It must neutralize this perceived threat to its control. This can manifest as cold withdrawal, dismissive anger, or a sudden, inexplicable need to fix you, not out of genuine care, but out of a desperate attempt to package your terrifyingly real emotion back into a neat, manageable box. He is not rejecting you, he is rejecting a confrontation with himself. He is running from the mirror you hold up, a mirror that reflects the barrenness of his own emotional fortress and the ghost rattling its chains within. Do not be deceived. His retreat is not a judgment of your worth, it is the confession of his own inner schism. It is the sound of a man fleeing the battlefield of his own individuation. Conversely, the man who has begun the arduous journey of his own inner work, the man who has dared to descend into his own shadows and begin a dialogue with his anima, will have an entirely different response. He will not see weakness in your vulnerability, he will recognize it as the highest form of courage. Your authenticity will not feel like an incoming tide that threatens to drown him, but like a spring of fresh water in a parched desert. It will feel like coming home. This is because he has already started to accept and integrate the feminine aspects of his own being. He has learned that true strength is not the absence of feeling, but the capacity to hold it with consciousness and integrity. When he encounters your genuine vulnerability, his integrated anima recognizes a kindred spirit. It is not a projection to be captured, but a reality to be met. He doesn't feel the urge to fix or save you, because he sees that you are not broken. He feels the profound urge to connect, to witness, to meet you in that space of authentic truth. This is the foundation of a conscious relationship, a union not of two halves seeking completion, but of two whole individuals choosing to share their journey. His admiration is the hallmark of a man on the path to his own wholeness. So, you must learn to become the dispassionate observer of this dynamic, a stoic queen surveying her domain. When you offer your authentic self and are met with retreat or projection, your task is not to shrink, to apologize, or to contort yourself into a more palatable shape for his fragile ego. Your task, as Marcus Aurelius would advise, is to retreat into your own inner citadel. His reaction is an external event. It is information. It is the weather. It is not, and never can be, a measure of your intrinsic value. To personalize his fear is to hand him the keys to your emotional kingdom. To see it for what it is, a reflection of his own inner war, is to reclaim your power. You must understand this critical distinction. His inability to hold space for your truth is a statement about the limits of his own container, not a flaw in the substance of your soul. Do you shatter a mirror because it shows a face you do not wish to see? Or do you inquire why the reflection is so disturbing? The man who shatters the mirror remains in ignorance. The woman who understands the dynamic simply walks away, mirror intact, knowing she has just been saved from a man not yet ready to see himself. This brings us to a crucial, nuanced distinction that many fail to grasp, the vast chasm between authentic vulnerability and unhealed woundedness. Authentic vulnerability is an act of profound self-possession. It arises from a woman who has done her inner work, who knows her own worth, and who chooses, from a place of strength, to share her inner world. It is an offering, not a demand. It says, "This is who I am. This is my heart. I am whole with or without your acceptance." It is fundamentally non-transactional. Unhealed woundedness, however, masquerades as vulnerability but operates from a place of deficit. It is the cry of the inner child, not the voice of the integrated adult. It seeks a savior, a parent, a figure to fill the void. It leaks emotion uncontrollably, hoping to elicit a specific response: pity, rescue, validation. This is not an offering, it is a covert contract. A man's psyche, however unconsciously, can often sense the difference. While he may be drawn into the drama of the wound, becoming the rescuer in a codependent dance, this is a fragile bond built on projection and need. Authentic vulnerability, on the other hand, asks for nothing but presence. It challenges him not to rescue, but to rise. It is this challenge that separates the men from the boys. The uninitiated man, trapped in the hero archetype, is often magnetically drawn to woundedness. It validates his persona. Rescuing the damsel allows him to feel strong, capable, and necessary, all while avoiding the far more terrifying task of looking inward. He can focus on fixing her brokenness so he never has to confront his own. This creates the intoxicating, addictive cycle of the trauma bond, a whirlwind of intense highs and devastating lows, mistaken by both parties for profound love. It is a shared psychosis, an agreement to dance around the edges of each other's wounds without ever truly healing them. Authentic vulnerability shatters this illusion. It offers no damsel to be rescued. It presents a sovereign queen who has already tended to her own gardens. There is no problem for the hero to solve. Confronted with a woman who needs nothing from him but his authentic presence, his entire complex collapses. He has no role to play. He is stripped of his sword and shield and is asked to simply be a man, present with his own soul. This quiet, undefended space is the most intimidating place in the world for a man who has built his identity on doing, fixing, and achieving. He will often flee this sacred ground in search of a more familiar battlefield, another broken kingdom where he can play the hero once more. It is here that the wisdom of Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy, but a lifeline. Epictetus taught that the chief task in life is to separate what is within our control from what is not. You cannot control a man's level of consciousness. You cannot force him to do his shadow work. You cannot expedite his journey of individuation. You cannot make him ready for the truth you embody. These things are firmly in the category of not in your control. What is in your control? Your own integrity. The courage of your authenticity. The commitment to your own inner work. The cultivation of your self-worth, independent of any external reflection. Your decision to offer your vulnerability is your own. His reception of it is his. When you truly internalize this, a profound liberation occurs. You cease to see his reaction as a measure of your success or failure in the interaction. You see it simply as data. You are a scientist of the soul, and this is an experiment. You presented a catalyst, your authentic self, and you are now observing the results. The results are not personal. They are chemical. They reveal the internal composition of the man before you. And with that data, you are free to make a conscious choice, unburdened by the weight of his emotional immaturity. Let us be clear, this path demands a radical form of self-love. It requires you to value your own emotional truth above the comfort of a man's ego. It means choosing the quiet solitude of your own integrity over the noisy validation of a relationship built on pretense. Many women are terrified of this. They have been conditioned to believe that their value lies in their ability to be pleasing, adaptable, and emotionally convenient for men. They learn to shrink their emotional reality, to sand down the sharp edges of their truth, to present a curated, palatable version of themselves in the hopes of being chosen. This is the great betrayal of the self. Every time you silence your authentic voice to keep a man from becoming uncomfortable, you abandon your own inner citadel. You tell the deepest part of yourself that it is unworthy, that its truth is shameful. The journey of the empowered feminine is the journey back to this abandoned self. It is the process of reclaiming your emotional landscape as sacred ground, a territory that you will not allow to be desecrated by the projections of those who fear its power. It is a vow of allegiance to your own soul. This reclamation is, in essence, an alchemical process. In the language of Jung, it is your work of individuation. The encounters that trigger these deep, archetypal dynamics are the fire that purifies. Each time a man recoils from your authentic vulnerability, it is a painful but potent opportunity. It is a chance to heal the part of you that still believes his reaction is a reflection of your worth. It is a chance to strengthen the muscle of your self-validation. You are transmuting the lead of rejection into the gold of self-knowledge. You begin to understand that these men are not your adversaries, they are your catalysts. They are unconscious facilitators of your growth, revealing the places within you that still seek approval from outside. As you continue this work, your energetic signature begins to change. You no longer emanate the frequency of need or longing. Instead, you radiate a calm, self-possessed sovereignty. This, in itself, begins to act as a powerful filter. Men who are terrified of their own depth will no longer be drawn into your orbit. They will feel the quiet power you embody and, sensing they have no role to play in your story, will instinctively keep their distance. You no longer have to push them away. Your very presence repels that which is not a vibrational match. What then is drawn to this newfound sovereign energy? The man who recognizes it. The man who, on his own parallel journey, has been cultivating the same inner qualities. He who has learned to sit with his own discomfort, to question his own projections, and to honor the sacred silence within. When this man encounters your authentic vulnerability, it resonates like a familiar chord. He does not see chaos, he sees life force. He does not feel threatened, he feels invited. Your courage gives him courage. Your truth liberates his own. He is not looking for a woman to complete him or a project to fix. He is looking for a partner in consciousness, a fellow traveler on the path of individuation. This kind of connection is not built on the frantic energy of falling in love, which is often just a collision of two sets of projections. It is built on the steady, grounded energy of recognition. It is the quiet and profound realization of, there you are. I see you. I see all of you. And I am not afraid. This is the sacred union the soul craves, a meeting that transcends ego and touches the eternal. It is a connection forged not in need, but in freedom. This level of discernment requires you to become fiercely protective of your inner peace. As Seneca wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. When you offer your vulnerability, you must release all attachment to the outcome. You offer it as a gift, freely given. If the gift is received with grace and recognition, a beautiful connection may blossom. If it is refused, ignored, or thrown back at you, you must have the strength to calmly retrieve your gift and walk away, your peace undisturbed. This is the practice. It is a meditation in motion. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to exercise this muscle of detachment. Is your peace contingent on his response? Is your sense of self-worth inflated by his approval or shattered by his rejection? If so, the work is not yet done. The goal is to reach a state where you can stand in your truth, wholly and completely, and remain in a state of equanimity regardless of the world's reaction. This is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. It is the opposite. It is about becoming so deeply rooted in the warmth of your own self-love that the external weather can no longer chill you to the bone. The silence that often follows a moment of true vulnerability can be the most potent part of the exchange. In this space, free from words and reactions, the truth of the dynamic is laid bare. If a man retreats into silence because he is processing, integrating, and mustering the courage to meet you in that new depth, that silence will feel resonant and respectful. But if he retreats into a silence that is dismissive, avoidant, or punishing, that silence is a clear and unequivocal answer. Learn to listen to the quality of the silence. It will tell you everything you need to know about his capacity. The empowered woman does not rush to fill this silence. She does not chase him into it, begging for an explanation or reassurance. She respects it. She allows it to be what it is, the space where he confronts himself. And in that space, she makes her own choice. She chooses whether to wait for a man who may or may not have the capacity to return, or whether to continue on her own path, knowing that her journey does not pause for anyone who is not prepared to walk beside her. The silence is not a rejection, it is a crossroads. Ultimately, this entire dynamic is a rite of passage. It is the shedding of an old skin, the death of the girl who sought validation, and the birth of the woman who is the source of her own. You begin to understand that the ultimate prize was never the man's love or approval. The ultimate prize was the unwavering, unshakable connection to your own divine self. You learn that your emotions are not liabilities, they are sacred intelligence. Your vulnerability is not a weakness, It is a superpower that filters your reality, repelling the fearful and attracting the courageous. You cease to view relationships as a means of feeling whole and begin to see them as a joyous expression of a wholeness that already exists within you. A deep, abiding peace settles into your bones. The frantic search ends. The need to prove, to perform, to persuade, it all dissolves. You find a stillness at your core that is more fulfilling than any external romance could ever be. You have come home to yourself, and you realize you were the one you were waiting for all along. From this place of inner union, your interactions with the masculine become radically different. You are no longer auditioning. You are observing. You are no longer seeking to be chosen, you are the one who chooses. You can engage with men from a place of genuine curiosity and compassion, understanding the profound struggles many of them face with their own inner world. You can have empathy for the man who runs, seeing him not as a monster who rejected you, but as a soul in the grip of fear. This compassion is born not of pity, but of the deep wisdom gained from your own journey into the shadows. You can honor his path without needing to participate in it. This detachment is the final freedom. It is the realization that you can love the world and all its beautiful, broken people without needing anything from them in return. Your heart is full, your spirit is sovereign, and your path is your own. You have mastered the art of being, and from this state, you attract not what you want, but what you are. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.